Jackson in the backfield, 1st and 10. There's a block by Stupar. Winding up, going deep, and caught! It's a touchdown! Johnson! Doubled.
For a chance to make a play, and Johnson does make a play. Look at this. This is where he cost them.
He's one of the Minutemen, or at least trying to be one of the Minutemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Throwback Thursday. I'm your boy Mike, back at you again with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video from yesterday. By the way, I spent a lot of time and was really proud of that video, and I thought it was pretty funny. So if you haven't, make sure to go check out that video from yesterday. But today's video, we are continuing the Throwback Thursday series with the Buffalo Bills. Now, quick disclaimer. Some of you guys noticed in my last video, I goofed. I goofed a little bit. I pulled a goof. I was going in team alphabetical order. Last week I did the Panthers. I completely skipped over the Buffalo Bills. So this week I will be doing the Bills, and I will be retitling that episode from last week, episode 5. This is technically episode 4. For those of you not watching this video, you'll never know. It's like I snapped with the Infinity Stones. Nobody knows anything. All right, so we are going to be covering the Buffalo Bills today. We are going to be covering Stevie Johnson specifically. But before we do that, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, to make sure that you do not miss any of my banger uploads. I have a really awesome video coming out on Friday, tomorrow as well, that I'm really excited for you guys to see. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And thank you for all the support that you guys have been showing me recently. I really, really appreciate it. But you're not here for that. You're not here for my sob story. You're here to talk about Stevie Johnson. So let's get right to the video. So Stevie Johnson was a really talented receiver in the NFL. He played in the NFL for 8 seasons, which is a pretty good length for a career. You know, most NFL careers are only about 3-4 years. So 8 seasons is pretty good. The thing that really sticks out to me about Stevie Johnson is I have very vivid memories of Stevie Johnson being like one of the NFL's best receivers growing up. And looking at his like Pro Football Reference page, I was just mistaken, I guess. He was not one of the top tier elite guys. In my mind, he was always very, very good, minus one thing that we'll talk about later in this video. But he was always very good, and you know, his I don't even think he has a Pro Bowl. And to me, that was pretty shocking when I did research for this video, and I planned every player for Throwback Thursday. I wanted to do Stevie Johnson because of my memories. Stevie Johnson does not have a Pro Bowl. So we're kind of going to deep cuts here of players who I think that are really underappreciated. Maybe even at that time period, they were underappreciated. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about Stevie Johnson and the entertainment that he brought to the game. So I'm going to try to enlighten you on how cool Stevie Johnson was for the Buffalo Bills. So Stevie Johnson, you know, played college football in Kentucky for the Wildcats, and he had a pretty good college career. But unfortunately, they were not known for putting out elite NFL talent, and so he fell all the way to the 7th round for the Buffalo Bills. You know, in his rookie year, like most 7th round picks, didn't really do much. Had about 10 catches for 100 yards. Did a little special teams work, probably just to stay afloat and stay on the roster, but didn't do anything necessarily in his rookie year, which, you know, is typical for guys who are 7th round picks. You really don't get a lot of high impact guys going in the 2nd round, having a big impact in year 1. But then in his 2nd season, he did even less. He only caught 2 passes, and, you know, as a guy who was a 7th round pick, not catching, you know, catching a total of 12 passes in his first 2 years, might have looked like the end for Stevie Johnson in his NFL career. However, in 2010, he actually did have that breakout year, and he was legitimately one of the NFL's best receivers. In that season, he caught 82 passes for 1,073 yards, scored 10 touchdowns, which, let's time out for a second. I mentioned earlier in the video that Stevie Johnson had not made a Pro Bowl. I don't know how those aren't Pro Bowl numbers. And I know you might, well, a lot of good receivers were playing at the time, yeah, but, I mean, Julio Jones, that was before he was in the NFL. That was before A.J. Brown was in the NFL. That was before Antonio Brown started going off. So I just wonder why he didn't make the Pro Bowl. I mean, those are really good numbers. You know, I think those are really good numbers. He might have just caught people by surprise, unfortunately. But in 2010, there was an incident with Stevie Johnson, and it was something that you might count it as a career-defining play, unfortunately.
At the game in overtime with a field goal, and in overtime, Brian Fitzpatrick to Steve Johnson, wide open for the win, and
Are you kidding me?
Oh!
Want to get away?
It's game over. Wow. That was like a wow.
So an overtime drop that would have secured the victory for the Bills was dropped by Stevie Johnson, and the Steelers would end up winning that game. And I think for those of people my age who were young when Stevie Johnson was in the NFL, if they have a memory of him, it's likely that, unfortunately. But I think that he was a solid player, and I think that he contributed. I mean, he had 3 or 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons in the NFL. He was really good for a while. And the thing that stuck out to me about Stevie Johnson was his touchdown celebrations. That was kind of the era of receivers where like the post touchdown dance was like getting really popular. You guys remember Victor Cruz? He was doing the salsa and everything like that. Well, Stevie Johnson, one of the most memorable ones for me was when he would do the "Why So Serious" celebration.
Why so serious?
Obviously from the Dark Knight series. That was coming out around that time. I think Dark Knight came around 2012, if I'm not mistaken. So he just brought like this cool energy to the game, and I really fell in love with it as a kid. And I think that he was one of the first people that started the trend of like post touchdown dance celebrations, and we've seen how much that it's taken off today. I mean, we have everybody and their mama doing the gritty after they score a touchdown now. So how much of that we can really give credit to Stevie Johnson, I'm not sure, but I think he was one of the first guys that really popularized it for this generation. So in 2012, unfortunately, Stevie Johnson suffered a groin injury, and that kind of limited him throughout the year. But at the end of the season, he was rewarded with a 5-year, $36 million contract by the Buffalo Bills. So while things were starting to look up, they quickly went back down. Then he was traded to the 49ers, spent 1 year in San Francisco. Then he played for the San Diego Chargers for a year, which, didn't really do much of anything. He also, I think, hurt his knee, which ended his season and ultimately kind of ended his career as well. So since retiring, Stevie Johnson has stayed active in the football community. He has become the head coach of his former high school, so he's coaching up that young generation, showing those guys what it takes to get to the league and compete at a high level. So big props to Stevie Johnson. But yeah, I just want to make this video about Stevie Johnson, talking about Throwback Thursday. One of my favorite players from my era. Again, a guy who isn't regarded as one of the best players at his position. It's kind of overshadowed, and I think because of that infamous drop, it's kind of disregarded how good he was and how solid he was as a player. But let me know what you guys think about Stevie Johnson, if you guys remember him from back then. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like I said earlier. I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace out. Have a great rest of your day. I'm off to see Spider-Verse.